Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. I thought we'd do something a little bit different today. We are going to have a recap on one of our very popular spiders, and we've been asked many times on the comments from our other videos, even videos that aren't regarding these spiders, when are we going to see them again? So I figured today will be the day. We're going to do a little routine video, how I basically go around and I feed these spiders. And we often get asked, how long does it take doing all this stuff in the Beastie Room? Well, I can let you into a little secret. It doesn't actually take very long at all. It's not that bad once you got a good routine and you keep things nice and tidy. That's the key, tidy. Right, we don't like a mess. So we are going to follow these spiders. We're going to have another little look at them. We haven't looked at these for, must be some months now, I think, hasn't it? Got to be about 4 months, maybe, something like that. So we'll do that now. Right then, before we start that, we have been allowed into a little secret. One of our subscribers, it's his birthday tomorrow. So, from me and camera lady,
happy birthday.
Dean Champness, it's your birthday.
Happy birthday.
Good man. Well, I hope you enjoy this video. This is obviously this is a cool spider, this is. So we thought we'd do this one on your birthday. Right, so without further ado, sit back, Dean. Hope you enjoy it. And you got any comments, keep them to yourself. I'll see you later. Right then, let's crack on, shall we? Let's do this. We are going to do, I better tell you, we are going to do the Macrothelys gigas. And as you all know, this is one of my favourite spiders. I love these spiders. Right, this is where we keep them all, up here. So we've got all of our Macrothelys up here, all the gigas. Apart from our big adult female, she's in a proper enclosure on her own. But we'll come over to her in a little bit. But what we're going to concentrate on today is these guys. Now, in these small pots here, these are 190ml pots, which unfortunately you can't get anymore, which is really sad because I love them to bits, but we can't get them anymore. But this is the sort of size pot. Now, we often get asked, what size pot should I put my slings in, things like this. Now, one of these pots here, say, look, they're not massive, they're only small. And as you can see, that's perfectly suitable for an arboreal spider. So if you happen to buy one of our Verses or one of our Avic, a Regalis sling, anything like that, when it's only this size, it's only tiny, these are more than adequate. This is what you want to be looking for, this type of enclosure, this kind of size. Doesn't have to be one of these, but this sort of size. And you'll find your spiders will flourish in these. They're much easier to keep in this size environment than they are, say, like a sling pot. There's a sling pot, so you can see the difference. Very difficult to maintain any kind of environment in one of these. Very difficult. But you step it up to this size, it all becomes a whole lot easier. So this is what we're at today. This is what we're going to do. And we labelled them all, so we know what we got in there. We always label them. So what we're going to do, we are going to pull down all of these up here. And this is what I do every time. And what we're doing is we're taking the small tubs. These are the tiny slings. These are the small slings, which you would have remembered when we first got these. They were absolutely tiny. I think they didn't even reach 0.5 of a centimetre. They were very small. They've grown a little bit now. So what we do is we take all of them off first. We put them on the desk. You notice the desk, nice and clean, tidy. We do this on purpose because should we get a runner, we don't want to be mucking around. So we put them over there like that. Keep them to one side. The reason we've taken them off is because we want to get back to these boxes in the back. This is where we're keeping all our juvies. Now these are much bigger. And you can see here, actually it's interesting. You can see on the side here, some of these have got condensation in them. See this? This is in the bottom here. And you notice the condensation is in the bottom ones. Now with the Braplast boxes that we've got them in, they've got air holes in the top. Now although you can stack them, you do seal off a little bit of that airflow. So what we do is these will be rotated so that when we bring these down, we'll feed this one first. By the time we get to this one, that one will be on the bottom, this one will be on the top, and we can rotate them like that. So they get rotated every week, and it seems to work. It seems to do the job. Now, what we'll do, we start at this end and we take our boxes off. Now you can see in there, I'm sure you can see them spiders there, our juvies have grown somewhat. Can we see in there, camera lady? You're coming? So these juvies have grown quite considerably in the months that we've had them. And you'll see there that this one has actually molted out. There's a nice molt in there. Now, one of the interesting things to note here is, although with these bottom ones here, we have got some condensation, the soil that's in there isn't necessarily very wet. Well, we don't want it wet. It's not necessarily very damp. So we play around a little bit. Now, how we do that is that when we have our spider, we take our box out here. There's a water bowl in every single one of these. And what I do is, as I open them up, I pop them in a piece of food. These guys are on red runners, which we've already got a tub of here. So we can literally just pull them out, drop them in, that's them fed. With the water bowl, if the substrate is already quite damp, I only half fill the water bowl. I don't overflow it. So we'll fill it up, but we don't want it overflowing because there's enough moisture in the box. If the box is a little dry, then we put a little bit extra water in and we just let it overflow just a touch. We don't want to be spraying inside these boxes, because if we start spraying inside the boxes, there's a good chance this funnel web is going to leave a real rate of knots, which we don't want. We want her to stay inside the box. Now, another thing that's really cool here is with the Braplast ones, we can open up just that portion of the box. And that means it's nice and safe for us to do whatever we want to do. We put our water bowl at this end as well. Now, these guys have got an absolutely terrible reputation, but it's not necessarily correct, because this spider would far rather, as this one has, dive down in a corner and hidden away rather than come out and fight me. He don't really want to know. He'd much rather just tuck himself away, and as long as we leave him alone, that's where he's going to stay. He's going to be quite happy. So he's actually gone down into the bottom there, and we can take the lid off. It's not entirely necessary to take the lid off, but what I'm doing here is I'm just demonstrating to you that if he's left to hide in his own little secure spot, that's where he's going to stay. He's not going to be wanting to come out unless we do something that makes him feel insecure and makes him bolt. So, just a little demonstration there, really, to show that these spiders, if you don't muck about with them, they won't muck about with you. They'll be fine. So what we do is we put our lid back on. They've got lovely secure lids, these as well, which is another really, really cool thing. Now, we got our water sprayer. Now, don't ask me for the exact water spray. This one comes from Wilkinson's. It's just a cheap garden water sprayer. Nothing special. Nothing special at all. So what we do, we have that up there ready. So we open our box. We just open this one end. We can see in here, it's relatively damp already. So we just put a little bit of water in there. We've got our red runners. This is quite a good sized one in here. So we take out a nice big fat female there. Look. Lovely big fat roach there, and we just drop that in there, and that is it. Job done. That's that one done. We move on to the next one. As you can see, this one's sitting out. We can see that there. She is sitting out. Look at the size of her. Now, bearing in mind, this spider is probably touching almost 3 inches, I would say. Now, our adult female, she's a good 5+. So we're going to literally open this up. As you can see, she's sat there very happy. We're going to put a little bit of water in. We'll be careful how we spray it in. We don't want a big blast of water because that will make her jump. So we get another big roach. Pesky little things, aren't they? We've got another big roach. We just drop that in there. There we go. We close the lid. That's another one fed. So this is how we go around it. This is how we start. Now this one here, this one is slightly smaller, a little bit skittish. Now what we can do, she's gonna run and hide, right? She's hidden away. Now then, we've got another little problem now. As you can see in there, her water bowl is all covered up. Now we can spray through the web and fill the water bowl, but it's not really advisable, because if we do that, the web that gets wet will suck the water out and it will spread it all over the enclosure. Now the enclosure in here, where she's webbed this up, is already quite damp. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the lid back on there like so. We're going to open one end. We're going to tear down this little bit of web on the side. And with our tweezers, you notice there, the web pulls the whole thing. Now she's come down into this corner now. And that's because we've moved that web, and she's made her uncomfortable in this corner here. So we've got to be very careful now, because we know she's there. So what we're going to do, we're going to flip that over, and then we're going to get hold of it. Hold the web down with our tweezers so that it doesn't shake her about. Then we can flick that off. That's all we need to do. Get it back with our tweezers again. And we can put it back in there, but on top of the web. You see? Push it down with our tweezers so it's flat. Get our sprayer. A little bit of water. Make sure you got your finger over it when you close it up again. We get another roach. That one's a bit big for this one. That's better. That's a better size roach. We just drop that in. When we're putting the roach in, our spider is here. She's right there. So we don't want to drop this right here, because if it runs into her, again, this might promote her to bolt, which we don't want. So we're going to put our roach over that side, and he can run off in the opposite direction. She will find him later on of her own accord. And that is it. It's that simple. Really, really that simple. So what we're going to do now, we're going to put these ones up. We'll do two more like that. So we put these back up on the shelf. We know we've done them. We come down to the next two. Here we go. These are lovely. You'll notice the difference in the sizes of how they're growing. This one's very, very lively. You notice some sit around, others tear around. This one's still got water in the bowl, so that's fine. That's good. We don't need to worry about doing anything with that. So we're going to get another roach, pop it in. There we go, that's that one done. This is a nice size one. And what we're going to do, we'll see if maybe she will stay there. There we go. We'll just see how she goes. She's going to settle down. Right, so what we'll do, we'll just open her up. She's got a little bit of water in there, so we'll just top that up. That's all it takes. Then we can. She's a good sized spider, this one, so we're going to give her a decent roach, and that's her done. So what we're going to do now, we've done 5. They're all going to be the same. Now you notice we're putting them back up as we go, so we know exactly what we've done, who we've done, and everything else. So what we're going to do now, I am going to whip through these as I would on a normal day, and we can have a little chat on that, and you'll see how quick we can actually do things when we just concentrate and we just get on. So that's what we're going to do now. So it might be worth, we can do the first couple and then we'll go freehand, I think, and we'll see if we can't get some nice close-ups of some of these spiders. Right then, so remember we spoke about the condensation on the bottom. You can see we got it in this one, and these are dry. So by the time we finish with them, the top one will be on the bottom, and this is all we do. So we literally open up, we have a little squirt of water, put that in there, get ourselves a roach, job done. Funnel webs aren't that bad. if you sort of just follow a few golden rules. You see she's tucked herself back in there already. Once we know where she is, there's no harm in putting our fingers in there to get a water bowl or whatever. You can tell after a while what your spiders are going to do and how best to actually deal with them. Now this one we don't actually, there she is, she's hiding underneath. So we've got enough in the way of water in there, that's fine. Throw that in there. That's it, job done. It can be this quick and easy. It's nothing terrible. Now what we're doing, as we go through them, we're literally looking at each spider. So we can see there, she's out and about. She's gone back in. She's hiding now in the corner. They're a bit like ostriches. They stick their head in the sand with their bum in the air and they think no one can see them. This one's already doing it. It's already there. So we got there. Now you can see, because she's in the corner, we know we're good. We can take the water bowl out and put it back because it was all webbed in. A little bit of water. Catch our thing. It actually takes longer to catch the roach than it does to do the job. Now this one, what we're looking for is also as well, when we go through them, is we're looking at the colour of our spider. So, as you all know, the Japanese funnel web is a black spider. Now when these guys are getting ready to molt, they'll sometimes go a bluey sheeny colour. They'll sometimes go a little bit of a browny hue to them as well. And this gives us an idea. Now some of these have already molted out, so it don't look like we're going to see one that's close to molting. Now I don't know if you want to come over and we'll just do a little bit of freehand and we'll see. You can get a bit of a close-up as to what goes on inside these boxes. Now put the roaches over this side and come to the side here. Now as you can see here, here's our funnel web. We'll just pull that back there and there she is. Looking absolutely gorgeous. Now you can see there, we're not worried. She's not making any attempt to dart off or do anything. What you have to remember is for all of your spiders, their security is within this box. So that's the most important thing. She feels secure inside the box. So there's no need to actually leave the box. Now, because she's right next to the water bowl, we have to be a little bit careful. So we're just going to put that in there and we're just going to dribble the water in nice and gently, you see. Now you notice how she felt the vibration of that. But you'll see there, she's given it a little threat pose. And there you go. Now she's moved away. You see? She settled down almost instantly. Not a problem at all. And that's because we didn't persist in anything. We didn't do anything. So she has no reason to fear us anymore. So we'll close that one up. We'll do the next one. Now this one, see if we can't get the lid off so we can have a proper look. We just have to be careful because they can be a little bit bolty. Now we go in here. We were saying about colour a minute ago. Oh, look at that. She's gone and hidden away. Now if you can, I'll turn it this way. You can just about see her down in there. But she's got a bit of a brown bum. That sounded rude, didn't it? Bit of a brown bum. Now, she's probably, you notice her leg is quite brown. It's not particularly black. Now this is because she is probably getting very close to molting. Be a little while yet. It's not imminent. So what we will do is we will carry on with our normal procedure. We'll stick a little bit of water in there. We'll get ourselves a medium roach and we'll just pop that in there like that. And that's it. You can see it's a very basic, simple enclosure for these guys. Really, really simple. When we're growing our spiders on, we are looking at simplicity. It's more important to be worrying about the actual health and the growth of the spider rather than be worrying about a nice enclosure. And when you've got quite a few of them, it's easier to keep things nice and simple. And she may stay there. We can try. No, you see, all the time, all they want to do is hide. Now we can see actually in this one, we tilt this up a little bit. You can see in there, we can look at the soil and the webbing. Remember what I was saying earlier on about the soil being sort of damp? You can see down here, it's quite damp. We've also got that bit of condensation on the box. And what quite often happens with this type of spider is they web over the water bowls, and then the water bowl acts as a capillary action and it literally sucks the water out of the bowl. We'll put that in there. Job done. Nice and simple. Right, I shall quickly walk through this last two up here. Get these done. You can see now how it doesn't actually take much time. Look at that, she's run straight into the water bowl. We didn't really want you down in the water bowl, my dear. There she goes. So we just get that in there. See, they all go and hide. It's nowhere near as bad as your first think, is it? This one's done exactly the same. She's gone and hid down in there. We can take the bowl out. And you'll notice actually this is something that I think is really, really obvious, but a lot of people don't see it. When the water bowl is in the enclosure like that, if I turn the box around so you get a better see, when it's in there like that and it's all webbed over, if you just get hold of the bowl and pick it up like that, you will pick up all of that web. Our spider is sitting there. As soon as she feels that web disappearing, she is going to run. She is going to be out of this box in a flash. So what we do, our bowl is like that, it's all webbed in. So what we do is we tip it over, we flick it over like that, yeah, and then we can pick it up like that, putting a little bit of pressure down, and we can keep our web in one place. You notice she's not moved at all. Even though we're mucking around now, I wouldn't normally be doing this. We'd be mucking around. She's just caught her roach in there. Look at that. She's grabbed her roach.
Can't get it.
Can't really see, can you? No, you see a little bit there. Yeah, she's got her roach. These guys are only fed once a week, so it keeps them in really, really good form. So anyway, we digress. So by doing the water bowl like that, we flick it over onto the web, then we can peel it off, and it means that we can keep our web in one place, which means our spider remains calm, which is the most important thing. Calm spiders. Now we've seen something else in here now. Now I bet there'll be people jumping up and down. Look at this. This is a mushroom. Mushroom that's grown inside out of the soil. Could have come from anywhere. You never know where they come from. But it won't do any harm. Won't do any harm at all. There is no reason, just because we got that mushroom grown in there, to have a rehouse or do anything of the sort. We just take the mushroom out. It's no problem at all. It's not an issue. So we shouldn't really worry about things like that. We drop our roach in there. Make sure we put our lid on the right way. Yeah, look, she's going right down to where our spider is. Don't know whether she's going to grab her, or she might just frighten our spider out. She's not sure. Now you can see now that even though these spiders are all ready to feed, but you can see just how timid they are. Now if this had been maybe, I don't know, say one of our Chilobrachys, or maybe even like a Brachypelma or something, it probably would have just grabbed that roach straight away. But with these guys, they really are quite timid. Now there's a good chance here, we're taking a chance here now, but there's a good chance that this will make our spider run in the opposite direction. Or she might just flick around and grab him, hopefully. Look at that, she's not doing a thing. Now this is something very typical of the funnel webs, also the curtain web spiders, things like that, when they're disturbed, they will often freeze. She feels secure underneath that piece of web, and she's just hoping that whatever's bothering her goes away. Right, we will leave them to it. We'll put our lid back on. There we go. So there we have it. That's our juvies done. And we haven't lost any yet. That's really good, isn't it? So you can see there how easy it can be. Now, these are our slings. Let's see if we can find one that you can see. Here we go. Now these are done slightly differently. Now this is one of our slings here. Now you would have remembered that when we first got these were less than 0.5 centimeters. They were very, very small, and they've grown quite substantially. Now this one isn't far off a molt, so we won't bother feeding this one. You'll see how it's the colouring of it. It's very, very light. Its abdomen is quite enlarged, and that's because these guys we feed these differently. So what we're going to do now, we are going to water this in the same way. You'll notice there's no water bowl here for this particular spider. So what we do, we use our sprayer again, and all we do is we literally just give a little spray like that down the side. That is all it takes. We don't want to spray the whole thing. We just aim it at the side there, and that is it. So that is that spider done. That will get a drink from there. It will also add some humidity into the environment. You'll notice we keep our tiny slings slightly drier than we do our juveniles. Now this one here, this is the same again. You can see that there. You see that? You see they've got these elongated abdomens. Now these were fed last week. Now we quite often do these on a weekly basis. Again, with the water, we pick a dry spot and we literally just, that's it, a little spray, that's enough. Now when you're doing your Avix or any of your other types of slings, if they're in this sort of size pot, a little spray like that is more than enough for the whole week. They won't need any more. We're finished with these guys. We don't need them anymore. Now, here we go. This one's grown quite a bit. This one's getting a nice bit of size to it. You can see that one in there. You see them? Now this one will actually take a bit of food. He's of a reasonable size. So what we do, you can, if we look in the pot, if you can see that pot moving, you'll see that all of this layer here is absolutely bone dry. Absolutely dry. You can see it moving. Yeah, you see how dry that is. You see it lifting. On this side, you can see there's a little bit of dampness in the bottom, in the very, very bottom layer. That is all that's required. If you keep these two wet when they're in a very small enclosure like this, you're asking for trouble, and chances are you may well lose your sling. So keep them a little bit on the dry side. That's what I do, and it's what we go for. Now then, when we're feeding our very, very small slings, we feed maggots. Now you can see in here, some of these are quite big, others are quite small. Look at that, that's only a tiny little maggot there. So that one there, that will be ideal for our little sling here now. So we're gonna drop him on the web. Oh, he went straight down. Lively little thing, isn't he? The maggot, I mean. Our spider isn't. I don't think she's going to come out. I say most of these are actually, because we've been feeding them on the maggots, some of these maggots are quite big. And that is a large meal for a sling, a tiny sling. That is in fact a large meal. So most of these guys won't actually require feeding again. So what we can do, we can just flick through them. We go in there, we have a look, we see our spider, quick dab of water, job done. Go through, we look again, we see our spider, we know it's there. That one's actually, that's a lovely size spider, that one. So we'll give that a small maggot and we'll just leave her in there. Now, one of the advantages of feeding the maggots is the fact that it's not going to do your spider any harm whatsoever. So even if it's left in there and it doesn't get eaten, it's not going to cause any damage to your spider. It doesn't matter what spider you got. It doesn't need to be, this one doesn't need any water. You can see this is actually quite damp in there. It's perfect. But you'll see also, I don't know if you can see with my fingers in the way, if I move that web like that, you can see it's actually quite dry. Yeah, this is what we're aiming for. This is what we're aiming for. So we don't need to worry about putting any water in there, but we will drop it a little maggot. And that's that one. So we're going to quickly flick through these now. And you see, when we got a whole shelf full of spiders, this is the best and fastest way of dealing with them. So we put them over, we just have a quick visual, we make sure we see our spider, we see it's there, so that's cool. We know it's alive, it's all well and good. A little bit dry there, so we give it a bit of water. And you can see it doesn't need to take a huge amount of time. You notice we're not worrying about any of these spiders doing a runner. None of them are coming out. And this comes back to what we were saying about with the juvies, that they've got that little bit of security in the web, and that's what they're looking for. So as long as you don't take away that security, they've got no real reason to leave the pot. There we go. And you can see now we can fly through them. Absolutely fly. Now, let's have a look at this one. This one has recently molted. It's very, very active, this one. You get some nice close-ups there. You'll notice that the fangs are still white. You can see that. You can see the molt next to it. Now look at the size of the abdomen. That is a perfect size for this size sling. Now this sling is probably getting on for 3 centimeters or so. There you go, she's moving now. You can see the markings within her abdomen, and you'll notice there that her legs are still very, very shiny. She's not fully hardened up yet. So she's got a little way to go, another day or two, and she will be fully hardened up. So what we do in this instance is we basically don't do anything at all. So we don't spray any water in there. We're not worried about that. We don't want to feed her yet because she's not going to be ready for food. So even with a maggot, although it's harmless, if it pupates and we then get a fly in there, that fly will prove to be troublesome if she's still in this state of just molting. She's still soft, so we don't want her harassed. We just want her to be able to sit on her web, chill out for the next day or two, and harden up and become a full-blown sling. So, you know, she's got a little bit of stuff to do. So we give her a little bit of TLC and we leave her be and let her go through the procedure without interference. And when we come round to next week, we won't worry. Once we've done all these guys today, we won't worry for another week. We won't even look at them for another week. So we do everything we need to do on this day. There is no need to be pulling them out, checking them, mucking about with them every day. You know, sometimes you've got to just relax, allow your spider to do its spider thing. So a little bit of water in this one. We drop a maggot in there. Job done. There we go. There's that one in there. That's another one. That's actually hardened up, that one, but there is a molt in the box. We just leave them in there at this stage. They're of no interest to us. They're very, very small, and trying to sex these molts is very difficult, just purely because of their size. Right, now that is all of our young slings done. Remember, if you're feeding maggots, put them back in the fridge when you're finished with them, and they will last you a long, long time. So they're very, very cheap. Half a pint of maggots is, I think, about £1.20. So very, very cheap food, and it's really, really good food, but you don't want to feed it continuously. So once your little beasties are up to a size where they can take on crickets or small roaches and things like that, then it's time to move them up and get them onto them particular food items, because they have a better food quality to them compared to a maggot. But where a maggot is useful is because it's a good sized item, it's full of fluid, so we don't have to worry about water bowls and things like that. We can literally rely on the food item giving everything that we need to our tiny, tiny sling. So that's them up there. There we go. And there's the last one. Is that all? No, there's the last one. There we go. So that is all them done. Now, these three here are Pamphobetus, and this is a little Incy commune in here. So we're not going to worry about them today. But that is all of our Macrothelli there. Now, we do have one other, and this is a mature male. Now, I don't know if we're going to get the lid off of this guy, because he is very, very flighty. Very, very flighty. But we will have a try, because it'd be nice to have a good look at him. We might just be able to see a bit of stuff. Now, he might just run out, so we'll have to be careful. There we go. I'm going to take that off. Try not to make him jump. Now, you'll see here, this is a mature male. You'll notice the difference in size. He has got a leg span that's cracking on for 4.5 inches. Maybe even getting close to the 5-inch mark. But he is still quite a bit smaller than our adult female. Our adult female is much heavier, she's bigger, more robust. She's a real handful in comparison to this guy. Now, one thing that we notice with the gigas males is they are very, very flighty. They're very nervous spiders, so we have to be careful what we do and how we actually maintain them and how we manage them. So with these guys, everything that we've showed you today dealing with these Macrothelli gigas is how I do things. I don't suggest that you guys do this. You must work within your own capabilities and your own experience level. Now, we often get asked, when it comes to experience, you know, how long do you have to do something before you're experienced? Well, that's a bit of a daft question in a lot of ways. Experience comes from time spent, but it's also, more importantly, about how you settle in and deal with things. Now, we know people that have been keeping spiders 10, 15 years, and a brachypelme will shoot across the box and they will jump and, you know, and you think, crikey, you've been doing this how many years? Why did that make you jump? Well, that's because that particular person still is a little bit on edge. They're still a little bit thingy. Now, it doesn't mean they're inexperienced. It just means that their actual nervousness, if you like, is still at the forefront. Now, the only difference you'll see when I'm dealing with stuff is I'm very, very comfortable with what's going on. I mean, we're talking away here. We've got a male here that I've already said to you is very, very flighty. But we're watching him, we're keeping an eye on him, and we can see how he moves and what he does. And it gives us an idea of how he's feeling. Now we can pick all this up because we're used to dealing with them and watching them, and we learn. And this is the key. When you're keeping your spiders, it doesn't matter what your spider is, look and learn. You know, when you look at something, you've got to see it. And a lot of people look at it without seeing it. So try and look a little bit deeper and see the tiny little things that are going on, which a lot of people don't see. That's the key to gaining your experience. And that's where you need to be. So you got to sort of concentrate and pick up on all the little bits. And quite often the best way to do that is when you're on your own and you can literally sit down nice and quiet and you can literally just deal with your spiders and see the different things that they do, the different reactions. Now, you can see here he's made a sperm web. It's very difficult with these guys to work out what's sperm web and what is actual just webbing, because they are notorious webbers. They web everything up. But you can see down in here, this was in actual fact, he's come up and he's done that. This is part of a sperm web down here where that hole is. So he's ready to go. Now we have got a pairing video which will be out shortly. We've had another attempt and he will be going in one more time because his life is now at an end. Yeah, he's met the end of the road. So all he has left to do is pair with a female, or as many females as he could get hold of in the wild. He would literally be on the wander all the time, hoping to mate with a female. Now one of them females is going to eat him. There's no two ways about it. He's gonna die at the hands of his lover. So what we do now is we put him in. He went in a week or so ago. He's had a rest. We get another sperm web and then we'll put him in again. But this time, when he goes in this time, we're going to leave him to cohabit. Unless they get it on straight away, we're going to leave him to cohabit, because I think the courtship on these is very, very long. So that's the plan. That's what we're going to do. Right. Now we're going to put our lid on. It's very important when you put the lid back on with a spider like this, that you put it on flat, like that. Because if you put it on one edge, he will bolt out the other edge. So we're putting it on nice and gently. And you notice he's still sat there. He ain't gone anywhere. He's just sat there. And this is what we're looking for. We're looking for a spider that isn't terrified with what we're doing. And this is how we get away with what we get away with. That's what we do. Right. Hopefully you enjoyed that little trip down the funnel web road, and you've seen how we look after them and what we do, and it really is as simple as that. As we said before, always work within your own constraints, work within your own abilities, and progress slowly. Don't try running before you can walk. So take your time, follow the golden rules. You should all know them by now. Be calm, be gentle, and they will all stay nice. This is what we want, well-behaved spiders. Right then, well, we'll just wish our friend Dean another happy birthday and for tomorrow. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And you never know, if we manage to breed them, you might be able to get one of these yourself. Be a cool one, wouldn't it? Right then, don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I'll see you soon, guys.